Here is a search bar, sir.
Okay.
If we write here animation,
Okay. Okay. Write it animation.
so that we wanted to write test case for this animation. Is it right?
See, search bar, what you can write there is, if you search for, let's say, jobs, write jobs, just see the functionality, na? Just write jobs there in the search bar, JOBS, write jobs. I want to just click and write jobs.
Jobs.
Press enter, press enter,
It right, sir.
hit. The result which are coming in the below, they are all related to jobs. See, whatever results are coming, in the first picture you see, find your exciting, new exciting startup job. Then trust, no, no, not that. The below thing what you are seeing here. Below pictures you see, right? What is below
Yes, sir.
picture only? All are related to jobs, right? Which are coming. But
Yes,
if
sir.
you, that is one test case, if you search job, all the test cases which are coming are related to jobs. Okay, now this is positive scenario. Now what can be the negative scenario? Let's say I search something up, some useless thing, A, B, C, D, E, Y, G, like this, anything if I search in the search bar, go to the search bar, not that one, the ever one. You are writing test case for the ever one, right? Write some absurd value, give some absurd value.
It means
Enter, click on enter.
nothing will be happening.
Yeah. No, something will happen.
There's something else.
It will see you, it will give you search result in a random order. It's nothing related to your search topic. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the negative scenario.
Okay, okay, sir.
So, hi,
Okay.
Pratik.
Yeah, hi, Jalil.
Yeah, so for here, like the two cases can we write for this scenario, the search bar. First is if I'm searching for any valid item, so it should be shown the valid results, right? Or if I'm typing something and invalid, so I have to go for as the website is behaving, right? Because the ultimate thing, if I'm searching something invalid, the error message should be came, but it is not showing in this website. So I
That,
cannot write from my side. Yeah, right, Eric?
no. That is the requirement of this that application. That if you search something absurd, it will give you absurd result. That is the
Yeah.
requirement
So
of this application.
for the invalid like the negative scenario, I can write if I'm typing something invalid, the the result should came according to that, right?
Yes. If you
So
type invalid also, then the result will type some random value. That's it.
yeah, the random these only two I think test cases we can write for this search bar.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. So and one more my question is like as we have written the test cases for the Find Designer. So when we can write like as you told us the three test cases, clicking on the Find Designer and clicking on further is two options one by one, right? And one more
Yes.
scenario can when we are hovering over and it is just showing the that list is that should also came in the test scenario.
No, why? Why I will tell you, because in that scenario, when you are hovering over find designer, the first option is coming. For that, you have written a test case, right? You have already
Yeah.
written a test case for clicking on the first value which is coming after you are hovering. So in that only you are covering that test case, right? Hovering over that will show result. Because if that doesn't come, means that test case will fail. In that already that test case is covered, which you are telling.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This
Understood or
was
not?
my question. Yeah. Yeah.
Why
Got
you
it.
will write?
Bec-
Again, why
yeah.
I'm writing
Because
duplicate? Because that step you are already validating only in that test case, right?
yeah.
Understood.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, one more question. As in the test scenario, just assume for the Find Designer. So, let me share my screen.
Let's
One
stop,
minute.
sir.
Wait.
Okay.
Gautami, you are clear with the doubt? Whatever you have,
Ah,
or else you have
yes, sir.
any
I'm
doubt?
clear. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are clear, right? Okay. Okay
I'm
then.
clear. Stop.
Okay then. Tell you I'll say that.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, so as we have written for this web element, so I think in the test scenario for the complete find designer web element, we should write in the test scenario, this one, as you have done in the login page. Like the test scenario should came, the find designer web element should working completely, including its further options too. So
Yeah, that you can create another test scenario, right? Like login your
yeah, I
homepage
create
is
the
related to
another.
another test
Okay,
scenario.
so I mean to say that like the test cases and test scenarios both looks very familiar. So in the test case, if, regarding one element, each and everything we are going to test, that should come in the test scenario one. Like the item designer and the post a job, all should came in one, and we should repeat in all these three. Are you getting me?
Correct, correct, yes.
So as you have done in the login page. So we can do that, or just we need to do the one by one.
No, I'm not getting. What is your exact doubt? I'm not understanding. What you want?
Wait. Yeah, as in this login page, you are your test scenario is verifying the login of Dribble website. This is
Yeah,
the similar in the right in every test case. As but we can also write that is the username is working or password is working here different related to test case. No,
okay.
are you getting me?
Oh, I understood. You are telling in homepage you are writing specific to those
Yeah, what we
elements.
want to do in the whole, yeah, you have right in your test scenario, but in the
Uh,
like in the yeah web element, wait, like here, at least for a one web element, we can write like specific in the one test scenario. We need to we should cover like designer, post a job, all should in one scenario because these two are also related to find designer. And
yeah,
further,
yeah, yeah,
their test cases should be like yeah different because yeah here we are
yeah, yeah.
clicking on find
Yeah,
designer.
yeah, you can
Here
do
we
that. You can do that. Yes, yes. You can do
okay,
that.
okay, yeah, that was my just and I also write for the niche this one the moving this one we need to write for like animation typography like one by one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you check
Oh,
my
yeah. So,
so from here, yeah, I'm starting that list, moving list. So is this right?
okay, okay.
And next, the moving element is
Yes,
mobile, then the
correct, correct,
product.
correct,
Okay,
correct.
okay. Yeah, that's all.
Well, now you have created the test cases. Okay. So now when you have created the test cases there, see, when I'm writing the test cases, I know that I am always right because whatever I have designed, uh, I will always think that is right. Yes or no? That means, let's say, you can just relate to this thing like whenever you make a curry by yourself, you and when you eat it, you always think that feel that it is tasty. But the same thing you maybe you give to other person, they not find it tasty. Why? Because whenever I do something right, I do it the way my mind is thinking that should be done. Just a human instinct. It's for everyone. Okay, it's for everyone. When I am given a thing, I do it in the way my brain functions. So always my brain will signal me that I have done it correct. Same is the case when you write a test case. It's you who have written the test case. So you will always think, yes, I've written the correct thing. No need of this, it is correct only. There cannot be any scope of error here because your mind has written it, so you have already written it in the same way. So if I give you to review it by yourself to see that whether the test case you have written is correct or not, you'll always think that the test case is correct because it is the you who have written it. But The moment you see someone else test case, you will figure out 100 to 200 defects in that, or discrepancies in that would need to be corrected. This is human tendency only, not in test case, any activity you do. Let's say if you have made a curry where you have put less salt or less sugar, you will not find it that it is not tasty. But the same thing, if let's say someone does and you have not given the right amount of salt, then you will list out 5 to 10 what errors in that video. Same here also. That's a human tendency. Okay, nothing is for everyone. Now, so for that reason, we do 3 type of reviews. One is peer review, one is walkthrough, one is inspection. Now, what is peer review? What do you understand by peer? In general English, what do you understand by peer? Tell me. What does peer mean in general English?
Peer is like something is connected to each other.
Connected to each other. No.
No, like in a chain. Sorry, I don't know.
Not connected to each other. Peer means your friend. Okay, peer means basically your friend. If you search it in Google, you can find out that peer means friend. Okay. So peer review means, let's say, it's just an informal review. Means no one will tell you that you get it reviewed by this and that. I'm working in a company. You are working in a company, and we two have become good friends. So what we'll do? I'll write some test case. You will also write some test case. Now you will give me to review your test case. I'll give you to review my test case. So that is basically a peer review. Means within friends. Okay. See, when just forget about test case. When you live in hostel, okay, maybe you have lived or not, I don't know. Who lives in hostel? So when someone does something, so they ask their friend, "Am I doing it right?" So this step is correct. Similarly, okay, so you don't have parents there or any guardians there, so you live within your friends. So sometimes you have confusion, you go to your friend and get it validated, right? Same thing here. You have written your test case. I have written my test case. We both are friends and working in the same team, the same company. So that's an informal point. Means not formal. That means not official. Unofficial. Unofficial way of reviewing each other test case is called peer review. Understood?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Next come walkthrough. Okay. So what is walkthrough? Now in peer review we are doing among friends. So in walkthrough, the same test can be reviewed by your friend as well as it can be reviewed by your managers also or your team lead also. That means someone who is 1 level up than you or 2 level up than you, they can review your test case. Again, that is also informal and unofficial review only, but that will be not done by a peers. It can be done someone higher than you, post higher than you, maybe your team lead or your manager, whoever. So that becomes walkthrough. Understood? So
Okay.
see,
So
in peer review, it will be done 1-to-1. That means, let's say I just reviewed your test case, you reviewed my test case. But in walkthrough, what can happen? Manager will review the test case. So he will review the whole team test case, but the lead will review the test case. He will review the whole team test case. So it's not 1-to-1. It's 1-to-many. Yeah, was asking anything, right? Daliwal, I guess. Yeah, was. You're asking anything, Daliwal?
sorry, I was on mute. So
Yeah.
in walkthrough, the tested by only by your some who is working on your above level, like a team manager, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or the peer is also come in this walkthrough. or
Yeah,
both are doing?
walkthrough peer can also review, but basically it is for the one who is a review. Peers can also review
Oh,
in walkthrough. That's not because see, it's a informal, right? So nothing obvious. So peer can also jump in. That's not an issue. But
okay.
with peer review, it's already done by a peer. So basically, we're expecting someone one up level up to review it in walkthrough. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Then next is inspection. This next is inspection. So in inspection, that is a formal review process. Okay. So and that is an official review process in which who will review a test case? The client will review a test case this time. Okay. Means it will be a formal. It's not informal anymore. It is a formal or official way of reviewing the test case. That means everyone need to sit there in a meeting, in a formal meeting, in a formal official meeting, and then your test case will be reviewed out. Understood or not?
So inspection should be done by everyone, right? Like every
Not
team
everyone.
member. But
Inspection,
sometimes client don't know anything about it.
then inspection will not be done. That's it. Whenever the client knows, he will do so. When he doesn't know, he will not do.
Okay.
But that is what inspection is. Here, it is a formal way of reviewing the test case in which the client reviews a test case, and it's nothing informal. You cannot just. There will be a proper setup, proper meeting setup, and everything will be proper, done in a proper way. Clear? Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Next, test planning. Okay. So the next topic is test planning. So inside that, first is test plan. I've already discussed what is test plan. So in test plan, obviously we have all the details of the environment, of the resources, of the objective of what will be testing, how many days, who will be leave on what, everything that will come under test plan. Next is your scope of testing. So in scope of testing, see, when I'm launching a product to the market, in the sprint one, in Agile, there will be sprint one, let's say. So I need to know which functionality I'll be designing here. So that model need to be tested. So because everything is not getting designed, right? By designing phase by phase functionality one and functionality two, you okay that if it is still there, then you can correlate. So in Agile is there. So here we are designing which model, the model which have F1 functionality that will be tested in sprint one. F2, F3, F4, F5 will not be tested. Same goes for sprint 2. Here F1 and F2 will be tested. Rest all will not be tested. So that is scope of testing. Which model should be tested and which model should not be tested. That need to be segregated out. Then what are the type of testing I will be conducting? See, we have already decided that the testing which we are doing now is functional testing. That can be security testing, that can be load testing. So that also we need to decide in the scope of testing, which all testing we can include in our testing. Then levels of testing. So in levels of testing, see, in some companies, in some scenario, some of the critical test case that is tested by you as well as one of your team member will again test it because that is a very critical scenario. Okay. So there decide the level of testing means in how many levels it will get tested. First, the levels will be in the different environment. We have multiple environment which we have already discussed acceptance testing and all. So we have 3 to 4 testing environment. Again, level of testing can be environment wise. It can also be associated with person wise. Let's say you tested some of the scenarios. Then out of that, some critical scenario again other person will test or your let's say test lead will test. So that becomes the level of testing. That also comes under scope of testing. Clear?
So Pratik, test planning, it should also be documented or just in a meeting they said that we need to test this. This is
No,
our
no,
test
test
planning.
plan document you will have, right? Test plan document will have everything inside it. That everything will be there inside it. Test
Okay,
plan
it will
document.
be like by the manager, right?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Generally not done by manager, it is done by everyone, but final sign up is given by manager. See,
Yeah, after getting like these documents, then we start the writing test cases.
correct. So see, anywhere you go, so there will be few manager who will only do all this. Ultimately, you have to do this. Okay, at the name end, the manager name will go and they will take the credit from client, but that is the reality. Okay, so
Okay, okay.
you have to do this. Now, testing schedule. The third is the testing schedule in the test planning. So, what is testing schedule? So, first is entry criteria and exit criteria. Okay. So, what is entry criteria and what is exit criteria? See, these are all the terms actually. Okay, these are actually all the terms because when you enter industry, I guess you are already working Taliwal, right? In manual testing.
No, I'm just learning. No, right now I'm on maternity leave. After that, I'm
Before
planning to.
yeah. Before you have already worked, right? Yes.
No, I have never worked, but I have done study related to, like, I'm in master's in computer application, but I've never worked related to this. In
Okay.
India, I was a computer teacher just, and here I have
Got it.
never worked. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. See, but these simple things they will stops in organization. Okay. Because in organization it works in that way only. Okay. Now someone could explain you in a very simple way that this you have to do, but they will not use 10 words. Instead they'll tell you entry criteria, they will tell you exit criteria. So these are the terms which you need to be get acquainted with before entering a test. Okay, so that you understand what they're trying to convey you. Because a meeting is going on and they are using these terms. And if you're not, whatever we are learning till now, so whatever theory we have learned till now, why we are learning that? Means why that's the part of the course. It's because you get acquainted with those terms. Because even though you can write a test, you know how to write a test, you know how to raise an effect. But when there will be a sprint meeting and when there is a meeting going on, formal way of meeting is going on, then they are telling this is that this is the boundary analysis, criteria and all this, then you will not be understanding anything, right? Okay. So for that reason, don't think that only test case you will understand, that is okay, or only raising a defect is okay. Whatever theory you have learned till now, you need to know those terms also. Because in industry, no one will spoon feed you and explain yes that if I give the value which are present in boundary and +1 -1, then it become boundary value analysis to create this like that. So directly the client will come or the manager will come. Have you identified the boundary value analysis? Discuss. So if you don't know the meaning, then you don't know which discuss is speaking about. Okay. So these terms are also very important when you work for the organization. Similarly, in the testing schedule, the first is entry criteria and other is exit criteria. So what is entry criteria? Entry criteria is the basic criteria which should be met for a task to perform, or else your testing will be altered. Let's say a particular developer gave you a build. Okay. Now you are doing a smoke testing. So what is smoke testing? Tell me, Dhaliwal or Gautami, anyone?
Testing those things first, those are like critical. That is smoke.
Yeah. So that is your smoke testing. Sure. That is also an entry criteria. Why? Because if those are met, then only your testing will be done. Or else your testing will not be done. Okay, so that's define your entry criteria. So what is entry criteria? Entry criteria is the criteria which should be met. Then only you can do it. Let's say that is one of the entry criteria. What can be other entry criteria? Let's say there is an application where you need to check that if payment is done by a third party. Let's say you do payment through UPI. Okay. Okay, maybe UPI, not sure you are using or not. You are doing the payment through card payment. Let's say you are doing a card payment. Okay. So when you are doing a card payment to KFC, is that card payment missing means a part of the KFC app? It's not a part of the KFC app, right? It's some third party application. Yes or no? It's done by Visa application or who are the providers, service providers for this card? Okay. So now let's say you don't have those devices of that third party's access integrated to your system. Then that can also be entry criteria to test this. If that is not met, your entry criteria is not met, you can stop the testing. You cannot go ahead with the testing. Because these are the important and the basic scenario rules need to be met before starting a testing. Clear, everyone?
Yeah.
So,
Now, exit criteria. So, what is exit criteria? Now, let's say there are some of the criteria which were not met, we stop the testing. This criteria are called entry criteria. When exit criteria are actions that must be finished before the current phase is over and next one begins. That means exit criteria is just the opposite of entry criteria. Okay, so what is the exit criteria? Exit criteria is that when these requirements are met for which the testing are halted, then the testing is carried out. So that is exit criteria. Just the opposite of entry criteria. That's it. Understood?
Can you please repeat this exit criteria?
Exit criteria is that when your these blockers are met, that means your third party app are integrated, your smoke testing is working. Okay. This criteria, when all the requirements are met, that is called exit criteria. That means you are ready for testing. You are ready to do your job now. Entry criteria was stopping you from doing the job. Exit criteria is resuming the work for you. That's just the reverse thing.
Okay.
See, here you can see also I have given an example also. So let's say I have a entry criteria for test case development. So what should be the entry criteria for test case development? You should have a SRS document or the requirement document. That is the basic. Without the requirement document, how to write a test case? That is the basic entry criteria. And understanding of the application, that is also entry criteria. And test plan document also is an entry criteria. Then what is the exit criteria? What is the exit criteria for the test case development to be completed? What is the exit criteria? Test case is written and it is examined. That means examined means it has gone through peer review, walkthrough, inspection, everything. Okay. Then test data is also prepared. Why? Because you have created a test case for login with username and password. But you need to have the test data created in the database. Then only you can test with this data, right? So you need to create a test data also. That is also exit criteria. Okay. Then if necessary, that is an optional thing, but automation script is also an exit criteria. That means when you are done all this thing, then you can exit. Your work is done, you can go. Simple. Exit criteria. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
yes, sir.
Okay. Then next is your test deliverables. So what is your test deliverable? Now, when you have done something, when you have assigned to a project, you did all those activities. Okay. Next is your test deliverable. So what you want to deliver means what you are expected to deliver at the end of a completion of the project or in a release, what you are expected to. As a tester, not as a developer, what you are expected to deliver. Correct? So obviously, the foremost thing which you are expected to deliver is the test case. That is the basic work as a tester you need to do and deliver after the completion of the project. Okay. Then inside the test case will be including expected result, what are the steps and all everything. Then, okay. So next is the defect tracking. So what is the defect tracking? Now when you see in that this Excel, what is that? Let me open the test. See, when I've written this test case, this is just I have written the test case, but I need to execute this test case also, right? Not like I have just written and leave it. I've written. Now you are seeing the document and writing the test case. So every time you pass, run this test case, it will be passed for you. But let's say in the SRS document that if I click on Driven logo, it shouldn't go to the company introduction page. Either it should uh, do nothing or it should go to some other page. That is my requirement. Then if I run this test case, this test case will fine because my actual result is that I'll go to company introduction page, but the expectation is that it shouldn't do anything. Clear? So that will fail. So this is whatever till now you have done is the writing of test case, but the next step will come when you have to execute this test case also. And when you execute this test case, you have to give the status here, whether this test case passed or failed, whether this test case passed or failed. Everything you have to give the status one by one. Understood? So that will come under your test case execution. So when you execute a test case and your test case fail, so what will happen? You have to raise a defect for that. So that is called your, and you have to raise a defect, you have to see that it is fixed by the developer, then you will again retest it, then you will confirm that it is fixed. So this all process is called defect tracking. This total life cycle you are doing, you are raising your defect, you are assigning to a developer, the developer is fixing it, again you are retesting it, then you are knowing that is this fixed or not. If again it is not fixed, again you are reopening it, again it is assigning to a developer, again he is fixing it. This will go on in a loop until the defect is fixed. So this entire process is called defect line. Clear, Dhaliwal, Gautami?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now task management. Now what is a task management? So everything you do in your life, you do a management, right? Now see, task management, let's say I'll do for myself. I have 5 days to complete 50 test cases. Okay. Now let's say in day 2, I have some doctor appointment or I have some family emergency. Okay. So I have to go. I will take half day leave. Now, when you take the half day leave, so let's say there are 50 test cases and you have time days. So you have subdivided that you will be doing testing for 10 test cases instead. Now, in day 2, you have to go for a urgent activity. It can be anything. So you will be taking a half day leave. So that day you cannot execute 10 test cases. So you'll just be executing 5 test cases that day. So you have to manage your task in such a way that you need to complete it within those stipulated time period. And also that you complete it in a proper way, not that I just don't have time today. So these right 5 test cases, I'll just assume that it is working and I'll leave it. No, this task management you have to do so that you achieve your goals. It can be done at a team level. It can be done at an individual level also. It's all depend on you. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah, so task management is just like as you have written in this paragraph, like doing planning, testing, and keeping track of that, and doing reporting of the test case. That is called like the task management, right?
So it is means managing the task so that it gets completed in the stipulated time period. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Now suspension, see exit criteria and entry criteria can alternately be used by a word called suspension or resumption. Okay. Now, what happens in what's the difference, basic difference between suspension and entry criteria is that in entry criteria the whole testing is halted, but here suspension either the whole testing can be halted or a part of the testing can be halted. Now, let's say in smoke test case, out of 5 smoke test cases, there is one order module, there is one payment module, there is one cart module, there is one product module. So let's say these all are independent of each other. Now let's say out of this 4 test cases failed, but one passed. Then let's say the product module passed. So in suspension, what I can do, if it was a entry criteria, even if one passed and 4 failed, I will not start the testing. I'll completely halt it. But in suspension, if let's say one product retail space is test case is working, then I can test the product test cases partially, and rest all I can halt. So in suspension, I have the what authority, or I can have that privilege to execute a part of it. Okay. Now resumption is just the opposite of suspension. So let's say part of the application was halted or full application is halted. When all these are met, then resumption is done to start the testing. Clear? Yes or
Yeah,
no?
so Pratik, in like in the e-commerce websites, the critical thing is always like the cart, right?
Not only that, lot of things are there. Means let's say your payment is not working. If your card is working, then what will happen? Can you place an order? If your
Yeah,
search is
like
not working,
related to the cart, right? The critical thing should be everything in the cart, like payment is happening or not.
see, in a e-commerce application, there will be the first critical thing is login. Second critical
Yeah.
thing, you are able to select a product. Fourth critical thing is where you are adding to a cart and navigating to a cart. Fifth thing is you are able to check out, and sixth thing you are able to place the order, and seventh thing you are able to see the order confirmation and order details. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So you understood what's the difference between exit criteria and suspension and resumption?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Yeah, both of you are also getting, right? You're not silent.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Getting.
So the next is your risk and mitigation. So what is a risk? Just in a normal system, what is a risk?
Yeah, the risk is something like the risky that can be a harm, will give us harm, right?
The risk is that means is a factor which has not caused a harm now, but it may cause a harm or may not cause a harm. Not 100% sure. Okay, risk is that if there are certain factors which may cause harm. Which now let's say just assume you are going in a buying inside a jungle, inside a jungle alone. Okay. So there is a risk, not that that is a surety. There is a risk that you may get attacked by wild animals, like your lion animal, elephant, anyone, or some wild animals. That is a risk that you may, but there is no surety that yes, you'll certainly get attacked by a wild animal. So that is a risk. Risk is that which may cause harm to the application in the future. So let's say your client came. He gave you this is my requirement, you tested. It's okay. You tested it, but you told him that see, it is a risk that you don't apply security features. Let's say normally we use firewalls, like just like you use once in your boundary to save your home, right? Same there are various concept of firewalls, so which is used for security in applications. So he's not interested in all those features. So he told why I'll spend extra money in all those things. So as a client, he has the right to say, okay. So, but he may think that you are telling all this thing because you made more money from him, so you are telling him extra things. But that can be a risk. Tomorrow, if the security features are not included in that application, it may happen that some hacker may hack this application, or the details presented in that application may get leaked out or used in the public. Yes or no? So there, what you can do, you have identified the risk, you will report to the client with proper justification that this is a risk. Now, if the client call he is okay with the risk, then he can go forward. But in future, if that so happens, then he cannot come back and claim it because you have already informed him. Okay. So not only security. Let's say he's telling that I'm launching my application in a certain country, and let's say in his language a certain word is normal, but in that country the word is some slang. But he don't care, he will know to launch it. So it may happen that when he launch there, it's a functionality only, it's nothing to security and nothing else. Let's say there is a word XYZ in his language, that is a normal thing, but in ABC country where he is releasing, that is a slang. So that will display in your application. So he will tell, no, it's okay. It's for me, it's okay, means it will leave it, no problem. So, but there you have identified the risk that it may happen that the customer there may revolt against this. So you have identified the risk. And you have also given the mitigation for that also. Let's say there is a security, you have given mitigation, do security testing, apply firewalls and all. If that word is a slang, you just oppose a slang and use some other word which will be okay for every region. So then you have identified the risk and you told the client. It's up to the client, you will take or not, but it is your duty to identify the risk and tell them. Now what you think that a client has not told me to anything about that, then why I will waste my time and do all this activity? No, because it is your duty. You have developed the application. You should tell the risk, or else tomorrow client can charge you. Why you have developed such application which you are not aware of? You have to identify the risk. Okay. Now, mitigation means just have some steps or take some steps which can resolve the risk or avoid the risk in future. Okay, clear?
Yeah, so risk is like when client's website is launching in the 5 different countries, 4 has the same language.
That is an example. That is just an example. There can
Yeah,
be
just
multiple
example.
types of risk.
Yeah. So I just want to tell you whether I understand or not. Like 4 has a different, the same language like English, and 1 is the different, but client is not aware of that. It is our responsibility that the fifth country, for that fifth country, we need to make the website more preferable in their language, so they can access it very like easily, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Now test design checklist. So what is, you have created the test case. Okay. Now I have created this login test case. See, I have created this login test case. I have created this home page. But how the client will know? Or let's say they forget our client. Even some of the managers in the industry, they are not also technical. They don't understand technical things also. You find a lot of managers in company. Okay, very few managers are technical. So, but a lot of managers are not technical. Okay, so even the BAs, what are these BAs? They come, they do MBA and join as BAs, right? So if you tell technical things, they will not understand. They only know requirement. Okay, so now what are my test design checklist? Okay, so I have created test cases. I have designed my test cases. Then what is the checklist I'll give that everyone will understand that I have created test cases correctly? So the checklist is called as traceability matrix. This is also very important introduction. So what is a traceability matrix? Traceability matrix is mapping of the requirement document, mapping of requirements rather, not requirement document, rather requirements to the test case you have designed. So that for every test case, for every requirement, at least one test case should be there so that everyone will understand that you have designed test case for every requirement of the application. Understand what is traceability matrix? Traceability matrix is a tabular representation of mapping of requirement with the test case you have designed so that every requirement should have at least one test case. It can have more than one, but each requirement should have at least one test case so that it will denote that all the requirements are covered while test case designing.
So is it like a different document, the traceability matrix?
Yes, it is a different document.
So according to
Okay.
that, creating the test case, right?
Yes. Now see, I'll give you an example. Okay, how it is done. Let's say just in the next sheet only I'm creating test matrix, but that will be a different document. Okay. Just for sake of showing, I'm giving it. Creating in a different sheet. It's very simple document. Okay, it's very simple document. So the first column is your scenario. And here is your test. Simple. That's it. Let's say my scenario is login. First is login. Then second is your links in homepage. So it can be eight. So links in homepage, then I've created on a test list. Now next is the, let's say help section. Okay, let's say there are three requirements here. Now first will be the requirement, not scenario, sorry, it will be requirement. Okay, requirement, and next is your test case. What all test cases you have created? Test case you have created. So for login, I have already created how many test cases? 8 test cases. So I can give here, but I have created till 8 test cases. Okay. So this is for login. Next is home page. For home page, I have how many test cases I have created? Let's say 6 I have created. You can create as many. This help section. This help section are not created a test. So this is your testability matrix. So you have requirement in the left hand side. You have the test case in the right hand side. So what is my requirement in traceability matrix? Every requirement should have at least one test case. But for me, this one is having no test case. That means I have not covered all the scenario. I have left out some scenarios. So my test case is incomplete. The moment at least one test case should be here. Every requirement should have at least one test case. Okay, understood? Traceability matrix. Daliwal Gautami.
It is just a document which further keeping the record whatever tests we have done or not.
It will give a proper track that every requirement is covered under test case.
So the traceability matrix will obviously comes after we created the test cases.
Correct.
Okay.
Understood, right? Daliwal.
Yeah.
Understood too.
Next is the test execution checklist. So the test execution checklist is a document which ensures that all test case that see. This is also whenever we're creating a test case, when this column is completed, that is also a part of test execution test list because I have executed all the test case. Okay. Now, in the checklist, test execution checklist will be submitted to the client. You need to include system requirement. That means in which all system, which all hardware software combination is required to test, and that will also be called as environment. Then which all test need to be executed, and when you execute it, what is the test result? Test result you will get in that column status password fail. Okay, and which all bugs you have raised and all the bugs which you have raised. Okay.
Yeah, so this is a different document, right? Test execution.
Yeah, checklist. This is just a checklist.
Checklist.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that will be helpful for the